Yo, guys, this is the OneFiveSeven Show coming in for the week 2. That was solid. I like that one. I'm going to roll with that one. Week 2 coming in. We are down here in the studio on Thursday night?
Thursday night. We're a little bit late here, folks. We are working hard. Late night. It's 8:22. That's late for me.
It's late for him, but it is early for me. So week 2, we had some surprises.
Yeah, we were wrong in our predictions.
We was not even close.
That's why we have the disclaimer every week that we are just fans. This is casual.
That's right. We're just casual fans that watch the same game that you guys do, and we put some notes together and come over here and put a YouTube video on and try and get you guys to watch it.
Yeah, for y'all's entertainment, we may or may not be slightly intoxicated during the game.
That is very possible.
Depends on the day and where we are.
Yes, so notes may be kind of slewed a little bit, but
slurred.
No, either one. So, again, guys, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. If you're new here, if you're returning back, make sure you guys hit the like button, that share button, and comment below, man. Let us know what you guys are thinking about these week 2 games, because there's got to be something on your guys' mind.
Yeah, this was rough. This was rough.
It's got to be, because I know a lot of guys thought this was going to be a cakewalk week for both teams, and that was far from the case.
That was null and void.
Yes, that was completely out.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, even if you've been here before and you haven't fucking hit it. I said fucking.
That's going on YouTube Shorts.
Anyway, make sure you guys hit the button then, and we'll
tune in to the videos.
Yeah, tune into the videos. We're gonna have some changes coming in next week, possibly. This show, experiment with it and see how it goes. So let's look forward to that coming soon.
Yeah, let's just dive into this week 2.
All right, week 2, Auburn.
Start with Auburn. Okay,
we'll start with Auburn.
Terrible game.
Terrible game.
All right, moving on. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, it was rough. I didn't expect that to occur. So the offense looked lackluster is the safe for YouTube way to put it. It was ridiculous. Heck, they were losing at halftime at home.
I didn't watch a lot of the game because I was like, man, this is not going to be any good. So I changed it. I changed it early on, and I can't remember what game I was watching, but I flipped it back and I said, what in the world is going on here? I'm like, this is not what I expected. So every time I flipped it on there, for some reason they went to a commercial. So I was like, man, screw this. I'll just check it later on.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of jump right in.
I'm interested for you to tell me because I really didn't watch a lot of it.
No, yeah, we can. It's easy. Watch this. Secondary. You've got to step up your game. That was awful. 24-40 for 275 yards was ridiculous. I
don't think they're supposed to be that good, though.
With no interceptions on the year through 2 games. We'll talk about that in the week 3 preview. The front 7 did great. They stopped the run. I think they only had like 50 or 60 yards rushing total. So, obviously, the weakness of this defense, which I've harped on to this point, is the secondary.
Yep.
Secondary has got to step the game up, and there were some adjustments made this past weekend in the nickel package and some other packages. So we'll see how that's going to work. It didn't work versus San Jose State.
Missing Derek Mason at all? So far, week 2, just 2 weeks.
Because his Oklahoma State, I heard they got whooped up on the first week. It looked pretty rough. Yeah. So the bread and butter of this defense is the front 7. That still rings true. Secondary is going to have to do some work. Quarterbacks and wide receivers, y'all have got to step up. The quarterback play was lackluster, like I said, and Ashford was actually the #1 rusher for the team this weekend.
That's pitiful. I'm just going to lay it out. That's pitiful of a stat that
when you have Tank Bigsby in the backfield, yes.
What is he? He's a freshman. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Tank?
No. Robbie.
Robbie, yes.
He's a freshman making his second ever game in a college field.
Yep. Yeah. So both quarterbacks only had 14 total passes completed. And if I'm not mistaken, folks, you can check me on the stats and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty confident that the team has a 4-to-1 interception to touchdown ratio. It's ridiculous. The offense is just struggling right now. I will say that Finley finished the game strong. He went 12 of 15 on the back end of the game with 2 crucial 4th down conversions, one of which was a broken play. So that worked out pretty well. So, and Tank saved him on the second one.
It's kind of crazy that it seems like every time that he plays, not Tank, Finley, he plays very poorly in the beginning and always steps up in the very last quarter and pull something out of his, you know what.
Well, I didn't want to get too long-winded with this one.
Yeah.
But I will say that that's actually one thing that Shanker and Harsin have both praised him on his maturity. They're saying that you got to have a short-term memory, and he's doing much better this year, where if he makes a mistake or has issues, he is correcting those, and it's not letting him affect him.
Right.
So I'll give him credit where it's due. He did have the 2 crucial 4th down conversions, and he went 12 of 15 to finish the game. However,
there's still some ugly in there.
You can't do this versus Georgia. You can't do this versus LSU. You can't do this versus Alabama.
Yep.
You can pass. This will pass, no pun intended, versus Mercer and San Jose State. It's not going to pass versus your meat of your schedule, which starts this weekend versus Penn State.
Yep. So that's going to be a tough game, too. We'll talk about that later on.
That's in the next video, folks.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. But that's going to be a tough one to look forward to.
This is going to be, we're going to have to see the development of this team. Wide receivers got to step up, quarterbacks have to step up, and the secondary has to step up.
Yep.
Special teams still doing all right. No issues there, I don't think. Running back still good. Front 7 of the defense, phenomenal.
Is the offensive line just that weak for the point where you can't run the ball effectively? Or is it just...
I'm not sure what's going on. There's no identity with the offense. And I think that's kind of part of the problem. And I'm hoping that kind of starts to flesh itself out as time goes on.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much my week 2 review.
You pulled it out in the end, so, you can't complain too much about... you can complain, but it's you still got to win.
It was
a sorry win. Sorry, very uncanny win of...
Yeah. And speaking of sorry or just sorry wins, let's talk about Alabama football.
Let's talk a little bit about Alabama football because...
Or not Alabama football.
This was definitely not Alabama football. And let me tell you why it was not Alabama football. Straight up, first thing, 15 penalties, 100 yards. You gave Texas a free touchdown in just penalties.
Yeah.
100-yard, boneheaded plays on top of that. Yeah. Will Anderson lined up offsides 2 or 3 times.
3 times.
That's what. Okay, 3 times.
I'm pretty confident it's 3.
And I will say this while I'm just talking about Will Anderson. He did make a statement after the game that was the most wildest, energetic stadium he's ever played in. The fans were rowdy, and I will say that they are rowdy because
that happened because it's Alabama.
And I'm going to say I don't like Texas, and now I really don't like Texas because of their fans. You could sit there and they was F Nick Saban the whole morning, the whole morning lead up to the game. F Nick Saban, F Nick Saban, F Nick Saban, and then during the game when leads into my next point, Quinn Ewers gets hurt.
Who still needs a haircut.
He does need a haircut. It looks terrible.
And I do hate to say that because I did say he needed a haircut and he got hurt. So I do feel a little bit bad. I hope everything goes okay with that recovery. I hate to see that.
And then when he got hurt, it's F Alabama, F Alabama. The whole time when he's hurt, and then they want to cheer when one of our guys get hurt. That just really put a bad taste in my mouth. I know it's a homer thing.
Yeah, it's biased, but it's evident.
It's clear that they're very trashy. They're very classless. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it's easier.
Very classless. Anyway, now on top, Quinn looked phenomenal. I'll say just straight phenomenal in what time he had played on the field. He just dropped as a freshman. This dude looked like he's been starting for 4 years. It was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal performance. It's a bad thing that he got hurt because his ability was very on that day.
You never want to see anyone getting hurt.
No, definitely not. But he was definitely on it that day. And this is the second time that a quarterback has gotten hurt against Alabama and for Texas. So that kind of put a bad taste in their mouth. Their backup quarterback came in. He played okay, I guess. He ended up getting hurt as well, and he just played through it. He literally limped through it.
He pulled a Finley in the Iron Bowl.
He did.
He limped through it. And
he almost pulled, a real win.
Some good passes off. So
yep.
I'll give him credit where it's due.
And some very poor defensive play by Alabama on when it come to him. They knew he couldn't run, and I guess it may not be necessarily poor, but they knew he couldn't run, and they kind of left him out there, not thinking he was going to run.
And
he scrambled 20-something yards, and then he got it. So, he was definitely limping after that. But he put the team on his back for sure to try and get the win. So props to him if for some random reason he comes across this video. I don't know. He may not make it to this point after my trashy comments about Texas. Now to the elephant in the room, no pun intended on that. Alabama has to get better. Straight up, has to get better.
That was a bad game.
I don't know if it was the penalties. or if that's just this team hasn't completely gelled yet. However, defensive back coverage was terrible.
Atrocious.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you let a freshman carve you up.
Yeah.
Straight up. And in a quarter, the dude had like 147 passing yards.
Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible.
So not on top of 100 yards free from the penalties, spread across the game, of course.
Yes.
But you also had one quarter where he carved you for 150 yards, which is a field and a half.
And I don't think, I guess the next quarterback that we would have to worry about carving us up like that would be Mississippi State. And I'm giving them props because their quarterback he can sling that ball.
Yeah.
Now, that's down the line.
Yeah.
But I think this may be a wake-up call for Alabama to get it together. They've had smoke, and I'm going to just plain out say they've had smoke blown up their ass all off season about how good this defense was, and how they're going to how good they're going to be playing and stuff. And they did not show it against a very competent opponent, very competent. And they I don't know, they did not look like the Alabama that everyone knows.
No, they didn't. That Alabama standard that we always talk about and I joke about was not evident this weekend. And it showed with the penalties, the boneheaded penalties, the poor defensive back play. And truth be told, if Bryce Young wasn't the quarterback and he couldn't put that team on his shoulders like you're talking about the Texas quarterback doing, it'd be a loss in Alabama.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Without that focal point of Alabama's offense being Bryce Young, that game was over.
That shows another thing that Bryce Young literally was the team last year, and it's carried over so far into this game and going forward.
Yeah,
the wide receivers cannot get open, and if they do get open, they don't catch the ball. We don't have that.
Oh man, there were several of them where they were just hitting them in their hands.
I mean, right there, they just out of it.
I mean, I'm talking from me to the camera right here.
Yeah, and then
5 yards, and just dropping them.
With the penalties stacked on top of that, we get behind the stick so much on third down. We're 3rd and 14, 3rd and 16, stuff like that.
Back up.
You can't. I mean,
the chains.
There's so many things you can do, but we don't have that deep threat like we had last year with Williams. Now that could change in the next couple weeks. We got a guy that's coming back, Harrell. He transferred in from Louisville. He's got that speed. Now, can he fit in? We'll have to see.
Scheme wise,
we'll see if he can get in there. But and I'm going to bash a little bit on Brian, Bill O'Brien. Wide receiver screens are not cutting it. Not cutting it. I mean, you called so many of them in this game, and they went nowhere. Nowhere.
Actually, they did. Backwards.
Well, yes, the wrong way.
Yeah.
But it's some of the play calls got to get better. He's got to put some more trust in Bryce Young to be able to get the ball downfield. And when it does go downfield, the receivers have got to put the effort into catching it and not worried about who's fixing to smack the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting heated in here because this was unnecessary.
It was a rough game to watch, and I'm not an Alabama fan. I'll pull for them. I don't mind. I'm one of those fans. I'll pull for both, depending on who they play. But it was rough, and I'm not even connected to Alabama besides the show.
It was very. It was frustrating as a fan. I'm sure I'm not the only one out there.
Yeah, so please drop some comments below.
If y'all are frustrated like me, please go ahead. Drop them below. Yeah. But now, some positives. Bryce did put the team on his back in that very last drive of his. People can say what he wants, but the part of the game is refs missing calls. They may have missed a hold on his scramble down the sideline. Guess what? It's okay. We gotta get over it. You can't sit there and say the refs are on Alabama's side when we have 15 freaking penalties for 100 yards. You can't sit there.
Controversial calls, and I don't really want to get into it.
Yeah, I'm not going to get on because that.
But there were some controversial calls there.
Yeah, no doubt.
And some confusing ones as well.
Yeah, but Bryce Young showed solid poise. He put the team on his back again in the fourth quarter, almost similar to the Iron Bowl last year.
Yeah.
Run defense for some reason looked really good. Couldn't get much pressure on the quarterback when Ewers was in there, but run defense looked very solid. I was happy with it. 79 yards. Held a team where their number one threat is a running back. Held them 79 yards. So that's a good thing. And then again, as a whole, if you was an outside college football fan watching, you would have enjoyed this game. It was the most watched game in Fox history, I believe.
Yeah, or definitely like top 3, but I think it may have been the top.
It was on up there. And if you watched it, you could tell both teams were pretty even in total yards. I mean, it was like 371 to 374 or something. It was a very close game. I'm happy we pulled it out in the end. I'm happy that we have a kicker that's clutch for a change, instead of us losing on missed kicks, because I swore he was fixing to miss this kick when I was watching it.
It was pretty nerve-wracking.
But we may or may not have dodged a bullet here. I don't know if that just shows the strength of the team to be able to overcome adversity with the penalties and everything else going on. But we'll see as the season goes on. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and to wrap it up, both teams have got to develop.
Yes,
and that's
both teams.
That's my curiosity, is how Auburn develops. I'm sure you're feeling the same way about Alabama football.
For sure, no doubt. No doubt. This team is not this moment of recording this video, this team is not a national championship winning team, and it's very possible we could get there, but there's still plenty of time left, plenty of football left to play. So we'll see what happens when we get there.
All right. Yeah.
Appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. I'm getting heated. We got to end the video now, so before I start throwing things. But y'all have a wonderful evening. Thank you guys for tuning into the video. And again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We're gonna be changing some things up, new stuff coming, video wise and stuff like that. Trying to put out some more content, different content. So look forward to that soon. Appreciate you guys for watching, man. Roll Tide.
War Eagle.